What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. It's time to look ahead to Wednesday's big Champions League clash against Club Brugge, and I'm delighted to be joined by Hans Noyel from the Klokke Podcast. Hans, thank you for taking the time to talk to us tonight. I know you're travelling to Glasgow for the game tomorrow. Are you looking forward to it?
Absolutely. Really looking forward to the Celtic Park atmosphere and your rendition of the You'll Never Walk Alone anthem prior to the game and the whole atmosphere and experience in Glasgow. So really looking forward. Thank you.
I actually didn't know that you guys sing You'll Never Walk Alone as well until I watched some things in the build-up to this game. So the atmosphere will be incredible on Wednesday, and You'll Never Walk Alone will be really special. So that will be good. So I guess just to start us off then, give us an idea of how the season has gone so far for Club Brugge.
Yeah, well, quite unexpectedly, we clinched our 19th title last year, whereby we were qualified in a direct way to the highest level of European football, Champions League. Our season got off to a bumpy start because of a lot of internationals being away from home and playing in Germany during the Euros. So the start was not that good. And what is quite peculiar in our season so far that we're losing points just prior to our Champions League games or following 3 days after our Champions League win away at Sturm Graz. We lost at home. So I think the focus of our players is not optimal just before and after a European game. We lose points because of our games in Europe, so which is quite disappointing, but that's the way the season has gone so far. We're in second position, 6 points behind the leaders Genk, but because of the peculiar format of our competition, if you have a good end sprint in the playoffs, you can make up for lost points. So we're quite hopeful that comes May, we might clinch our 20th title and that second star, because we're all dreaming of that second star, us Bruges fans.
Yeah. Am I right in saying that it was a surprise for you guys to win the title last season? It was in the playoffs that you sort of turned things around. And Ronnie Dyler was in charge, who we obviously know well from his time at Celtic.
Yeah, he was in charge just, we had fired him. He got sacked just before the start of the playoffs. So in Belgium, the playoffs, 10 teams or 6 teams are competing home and away, so 10 games. And we were 9 points behind the first after the regular competition, which was Union. They lost their 3 first games. So all of a sudden, after 4 or 5 games down in that playoff round, we were top of the table, and we managed to hang on and win quite unexpectedly, because 30 points to win, 9 points behind, and still we came out on top. That was quite an achievement, and that was celebrated as never before. Yes, unexpectedly, and happy to be back on the highest level of European football. Last year we had to compete in the Conference League, which was a change from travels to Dortmund, Paris, Madrid, Manchester for the umpteenth time. So this was good, and we reached the semi-finals in that competition, only to go out to Fiorentina, who then lost to Olympiacos in the final. But yes, quite unexpectedly, but so happy that we clinched it last year.
Yeah, brilliant. And back in the Champions League, as you say, you guys have a tough draw, a lot of tough opponents in your 8 games, but currently you're on 6 points and you got the win over Aston Villa. So how have you found the Champions League in the new format so far?
Well, normally we have only 3 opponents. Now we have 8 of them. The fact that the home and away games have gone is quite we have to adapt to that format. We got Dortmund to start with at home. We were the better side the first 70 minutes. Then they brought on 2 substitutes on the wings, which killed us basically, and we lost 3-0, which was not quite the reflection of how the game evolved. Then we went away to Sturm Graz, which we won deservedly 1-0, but that was not really the best of our games. Then at home, away to Milan, we took 4,000, so we just packed the away end there in Milan. We lost 3-1 due to a silly red card of Onyedika, our Nigerian number 6, so central midfielder, defending midfielder. And then at home to Villa, we were really not counting on a point, because obviously Villa is flying high in the Premier League, ending 4th last year. So I think they underestimated us, and we won unexpectedly 1-0, which is a bonus to us, because that was an unexpected win. So there we are now, 6 out of 12, with away games still at City and Celtic Park on Wednesday, and home games against Sporting de Lisbon and Juventus. So we just hoped that we might do and clinch or win another 3 or 4 points, which would take us into the next round. So that's our hope anyway. Wait and see.
Yeah, this will actually be the second Club Brugge game I've been at this season, because I was at your game against AC Milan. It was the day before. Yeah, it was the day before we played Atalanta in Bergamo. So we had arrived the day before, and we managed to get some tickets in the Milan end. So I was able to watch Bruges up close, and I actually thought you played very well, particularly in the first half. I think you guys had the best chances, 3 or 4 really good chances. And AC Milan didn't create very much at all, and then they get the goal from the corner, and then 5 minutes later, as you say, Onyedika got sent off. But even in the second half, I thought you played well with 10 men.
Yes, we equalized even 10 against 11 away at the San Siro. So we thought maybe that there is a point in the air, but then obviously they brought on a few of these high-speed wingers, which killed us. And 10 against 11, it was a very difficult game for us after that. And once the second goal went in, we all knew that was all over. So, but we made up for that in the home game against Villa, which is a bonus to us. 6 out of 12. We're happy to be there after half of the competition. So, and whatever happens on Wednesday is a bonus again for us.
Yeah. So thinking about Wednesday, then, can you tell us what are the strengths of this Club Brugge team at the minute?
Yeah. I would say that, well, we play in a 4-3-3 formation like yourselves. We have a very exciting Greek winger, which he is called Christos Solis. Used to play for Norwich and then went to Düsseldorf. He became top scorer in the second division in Germany. We bought him for 6 million euros. And he managed 4 goals on a Saturday against lower place in Truiden. So he's in top shape, I'd say, our left winger. But you have 3 Japanese guys who are equally energetic and successful nowadays. So this is the man to watch out, I would say, because he scored the only goal away at Sturm Graz as well. Solis is our European guy, and secondly, our captain, our leader, our living legend, Hans van Aken. He um, he won the league 6 times already, and ever since he joined us 10 years ago, he's really the man of FC Bruges, leading
Mm,
us from midfield. So these, to me, are the two to watch from a Celtic point of view, Solis and Hans van Aken.
mm.
We would have quite a few more good players, obviously. But if I have to pick out two, these two would be those to watch out, I'd say.
Okay. As I told you before we came on air, every game I try and predict the Celtic lineup. So for the bigger games, I
Yep.
also try and look at how the opposition might line
Yep.
up. So if we just look at this graphic on the screen
Yep.
now,
Yep.
is that something? Is that something
Well,
close to what you think the Bruges team might be on Wednesday? I know Jutgla
mhm.
hasn't played the last couple of league matches. And I think Olsen was on the bench at the weekend as well. But I've
Yeah.
gone closer to
Yeah.
the team I've seen in the San Siro than the team
Yeah.
from the weekend.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Mignolet in goal. That's an obvious choice. On your left defense, Meyer is injured. Meyer
Okay.
will be replaced by Maxime de Kuiper, who is a Belgian international as well. Meyer is a Dutch guy who suffered from an injury and wasn't playing for 6 months. He came back a few weeks ago, but playing for the under 19s of Holland, he got injured and he's out for another. Well, we won't see him still in 24, so we reckon he will be back at the start of next calendar year.
Okay.
On
Okay.
the right side in defense, Says will be playing. Your
Okay.
three in the middle, you're 100% correct.
Hmm.
Um, Solis left wing and Olsen right wing would be my bet as well. Jutgla, who is came from Barcelona B, who played in the
Hmm.
third Spanish league, I don't think he will start. To be quite honest, I think Romeo
Okay.
Vermand, which
Yeah.
is a son of a former Bruges player, he started. He was part of the starting 11 last Saturday, and I reckon he will get in the team, and Jutgla will come in, despite the fact that Jutgla would have more European experience. He was playing
Mm.
at Milan as well,
Yeah.
but because of the latest form of Romeo Vermand, he was good for a few assists on Saturday. I would place my money on Vermand to start in the position 9 centre forward.
Okay. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you for that insight. And in terms of weaknesses, then, in that team at the minute that Celtic might be able to exploit, what would you say those are?
I think we have the best midfield in Belgium with Onyedika, the Nigerian international,
Mm.
Yashari, the Swiss international, and Hans, our leader, Hans van Aken, the living legend. We have quite a strong midfield. At the back, we have a very promising guy from Ecuador, Ordonez.
Mm.
He is in the central of our defense, only 19 years of age,
I was
and
impressed by
he's
him in the Milan game.
yeah
I was
in
impressed by
Milan,
him.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was quite good, and he accelerates in. He's really excellent in European games. So I reckon he will leave us at the end of the season because the big shots and he's linked with Liverpool, Chelsea, and
Okay.
in England and a few Italian teams as well and German teams. Um, the weakest spot, in all honesty, is our centre forward. We normally have Nielsen there,
Okay.
but
Yeah. He's
he's been
injured.
suffering from a Achilles tendon,
Hmm.
so he has been out for a long time, and he was not in the selection last weekend. I don't know whether he will make the squad and travel to Scotland tomorrow. I don't know because it's an injury which has been worrying him for a good few weeks now. So to me, the weakest spot in the 11 is our center forward. He's not on the level of a European Champions League team, but that's he's a substitute, and yeah, that to me is the man. We miss a good center forward at the minute, but
Mm.
anyway.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of the Bruges approach to the game, do
Yeah.
you think what will it be like for Celtic when we play domestically?
Mm.
There's often a huge contrast in quality, of course,
Mhm.
but we tend to play in the same way, or at least try and play in the same way. We obviously ended up on the end of a really heavy defeat in Dortmund in match day
Mhm.
2. Um,
Mhm.
but we did go to Atalanta and get a 0-0 draw, so we maybe made
Mhm.
some tweaks there, and we
Interesting.
were
Yeah.
a wee bit more resilient defensively. Do you think Bruges will approach this game in much the same way as they play domestically, or do you think they'll change it coming away from home to Celtic Park?
Well, I must say that Nicky Hine, our coach, has been doing an excellent job on from a tactic point of view in the first 4 games in
Mm,
Europe. He analyzed all 4 teams quite well, and he put a team and tactics to counter the strong points of the opposition. I watched the entire game, home game of yourselves against Leipzig there. I thought that Leipzig were a bit naive, and I think Bruges will not be as dominant as on the domestic in the domestic league. It's
mm,
Europe. You're playing at home. Yeah, you get the ball, I think, and
mm,
we know that the high energy and the high pressure football by Brendan Rodgers, is your strong point. And
mm,
I just hope that Nicky Hine, our coach, will find a way to get around this high pressure tactic by Celtic. But it will be quite uh, exciting to watch how
mhm.
the Bruges coach counters the attacking and energetic football played by yourselves.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. It's we won't be playing as naive as the Germans from Leipzig. I think
Mm,
we will be defensively more stable than
mm.
the German team you played a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting matchup. I think it's pretty evenly matched. I'm looking
Mm.
forward to the game. I know you were on the Homeboys podcast last week. I understand you've been to many European away days following Bruges. Yeah.
Yeah, next week I'm setting off for my 76th European away
Wow.
game. I started back in, well, I'm 58, so I started back in '84. That was a game at the City Ground in Nottingham Forest. And
Hmm.
ever since I traveled around with Bruges. So tomorrow it will be my second time to Glasgow because I was there in the early '80s. I visited Celtic Park. It was a rainy day, but these days are quite common with you, I reckon.
They are. They
Yes, I
are.
visited both Celtic Park and the other ground, the on the blue side of the city. But really looking forward, and 3,000 of us full away end capacity will be traveling
Mhm.
to Glasgow. There are quite a few already there today, and we are heading tomorrow and flying back on Thursday. Yep.
Yeah, I could tell from the away support in Milan
Yeah.
that you guys will bring a big support to Celtic Park on Wednesday. Hans, that's everything. Thank you so much for your time and for your insight. I suppose the last question would be how do you see the game playing out?
Well, I think that both teams beforehand would sign for a point because obviously you're on 7, we're on 6.
Mm,
Every point counts in this competition. and we still have 3 games after that. I'm quite hopeful that at home against the likes of Juventus and Sporting Lisbon, we might win one of those 2 home games if we can grab a point at Celtic Park on Wednesday and then have a home win against one of the 2 which I just told you. I'm hopeful that we might qualify for the next round, not in the top 8, obviously, that's for the big shots in Europe, but at least from position 9 to 24, that would be quite an achievement for Brugges. So we just hope that we might do it. And I'm happy with a point away at Celtic. So I don't know how you guys look upon the game on Wednesday. Is the draw in your heads, or would you go full force for the win and a possible certain place in the next round? Or what's your opinion there?
Yeah. I think for us, because historically at home, Celtic have always been very strong. Maybe not in the last 5 to 10 years, but we have won our last 3 Champions League home matches now. The last one was against, the first one in that run was against Feyenoord. It was the last game of the group stage last season. There wasn't anything to play for. And then our first game was against Slovan Bratislava and then Leipzig. So we're starting to get a little bit of form at home again. So I think we will be full of confidence and looking to get 3 points. But I expect it to be a tough game. I just think that most supporters certainly will be looking for 3 points. But I expect it to be a hard game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, may the best team win, and let's hope for a good atmosphere. Both sets of fans in the ground, but also in the city.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Good man. Thank you. Right, guys, that's it for the preview. Like the video, comment your own thoughts below. I'll be back with you tomorrow for the starting 11 prediction. So see you then. Thank you.